welcome back to Kdog Goes to the Movies. This is the second week we're going to be doing this. This week we're going to take a look at a couple musicals. Yes, it's a musical weekend this week. You know, chick flicks the last week and then now musicals this week. But, however, I've chosen a couple of very entertaining musical films, ones that I definitely can tolerate. Hopefully you do as well. You know, it's just been a crazy week this week, and especially at work, and just some things have been going on, some positive things, some very not positive things, but it's time we just all sat down and watch a movie. That's just, hopefully you guys do this, and whether you tune in or not, that's up to you. It's no big deal. So I've chosen a couple musicals. These are a couple modern day musicals. Well, somewhat modern. And here's the thing with these musicals. Musicals they come and go. You have one that comes out and does huge. Unlike tonight's movie was not a huge success at the box office until it found its way onto home video. But however, the soundtrack and the movie has since sold like hotcakes. So I don't know what the whole thing was about it not being a box office success. So now that's the thing. Who cares if it's a box office success? If it's a good movie, it's a good movie. It just means that, maybe the advertising wasn't that great, but also on the same flip of the coin is that, word of mouth gets around and said, don't spend your money on this, go spend it on something else. It's crazy how the world works, because you can't always determine, success or failure. So much so, this movie has done so well in terms of its soundtrack sales and its DVD sales that they're planning a sequel and a Broadway show, regardless of its box office and critical failure. What am I talking about? The Greatest Showman came out in 2017, Christmas of 2017. Fortunately, like I said, it didn't do very well at the box office. Critics panned it, actually. But the soundtrack, the movie, has since been a popular selling item. I think something is going on with our economy in terms of this situation, because movies are not tracking as well as what they used to. But when they come out on DVD, hey, make a lot of money on that. But we're going to watch the flick. I want to come back and give my thoughts about it. And hopefully you enjoy this. Now, again, here's how you do this. The video is going to pause in between to give you a chance to stop the video. Go find the movie via streaming service, or if you want to do the physical media like Blu-ray, DVD, that's fine as well. But the key thing is watch the movie with me, and this whole thing will be sandwiched in. Now, another thing you need your snacks, you need your popcorn. If you want to do candy, that's fine, and you need your soft drinks. So we need to replicate the whole movie-going experience. So, without further ado, let's roll the film and sing along if you want to. This is a popular movie, popular soundtrack. Sing along. You ought to know the songs by now. So let's roll the film and let's have a ball, shall we? Now hold on before we start. I forgot one thing. The film's rated PG for thematic elements, including a brawl. So do judge what you think is fit for your children to be watching. So let's roll the film. So, The Greatest Showman. I never got to see this in the theater. Actually, to be honest, the previews turned me off. I just thought it was going to be this kind of liberal agenda like movie and a little bit preachy. To be honest, after viewing the film, several times now, yeah, it's there, but it's not very preachy. It's not as much in your face as what the preview led it to be. But I quite enjoy this movie. I think it's quite fun to watch The Greatest Showman. What really sold me on it was the music. The music is phenomenal in this movie. It's done by the same guys who did La La Land. However, I did not care too much for La La Land as I did this. I thought this was way better than La La Land. But that's just my opinion. I just couldn't get into La La Land. It was just I understood it, but I just felt depressed after watching that movie. However, this film does the exact opposite. It gives you that satisfaction and makes you feel happy, makes you feel good after watching it, and that's the whole message of the film. So I do give this a big thumbs up and a recommendation that just because of the entertainment value and that it leaves me satisfied. It's a whole bunch of fun to watch The Greatest Showman, and that's nothing more than that. Now, in terms of the soundtrack, I went bananas over with. I have purchased many different versions of the soundtrack. I purchased the regular CD version, but I purchased it through Amazon, so as an MP3 download, and then burned it to CD. But then also, I bought this. This is the sing-along edition. Comes with this little digipack booklet, and it has the soundtrack on one disc, and on the other disc it has basically karaoke versions of the soundtrack, all in the same order as listed. And of course, it has this nice digibook packaging with the lyrics and pictures and so on. Then, because of a popularity of a soundtrack, this tends to happen very often. The Lion King and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, just for example, they have many spin-off soundtracks, that were, let's say they were an inspiration soundtrack. Well, The Greatest Showman has The Greatest Showman Reimagined, which was released back in December, I believe, and it has the complete soundtrack sung by popular music artists such as Panic at the Disco, Pink, Kelly Clarkson, the Zac Brown Band, just to name a few, and it's actual pop singers doing their favorite songs from the movie. Then, of course, to complete the ensemble, I had to get the vinyl version, which is, just a nice collector's piece. I've actually played the record quite a few times. I do like this as well. See, this is the thing you don't get with vinyl records. That you don't get with CDs or MP3s. Look at this. This booklet with all the lyrics, pictures from the film. Look at all that. This is massive. How cool is that? Of course, the price wasn't cool. It was a little expensive. Vinyl is fairly expensive, just because they don't print as many of vinyl records as they do MP3s or CDs. But yeah, this I thought was a much better film than La La Land, which was from the same songwriting team. Benji Pasek and Justin Paul, the songwriters. And plus, Hugh Jackman had said that he had been studying P.T. Barnum for quite a few years before he decided to make a film based on his life. And it's loosely based, as it's very contemporary, and because the music in it is very, very pop music. I guarantee you there would not be hip hop beats or anything like that in the real Barnum and Bailey circus. It would just not been there. I don't know why they didn't use Bailey, the real guy, Bailey. That was the Zac Efron's character. His character actually was supposed to be the Bailey of Barnum and Bailey Circus. They didn't use the real name. They made up a name. But so it's loosely based on, the famous Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. It didn't talk about the merger, but they're planning a sequel. What I've read on the internet, they are planning a sequel to possibly tell that story about how it all became the greatest show on earth. But yeah, this is quite an entertaining movie. The music is awesome. It quickly became one of my favorite movie soundtracks. The Lion King and Oh Brother Where Art Thou is on that list. Gosh, it's just it's just an amazing movie soundtrack. But like I said, it did not do very well at the box office, and it was critically panned. And it's quite interesting. In the film, you have a critic who completely panned the show, but yet it became a phenomenon, is what it's become. Much like what happens in the film, even though the critic hated the show, but the people loved it. So it's quite interesting how life imitates art in some ways. But this is not the first time something like this has happened, where a film completely flops but becomes a major success on later formats. Example, The Wizard of Oz was never a hit movie. What helped it gain its success was multiple theatrical releases and television and home video. Think about that. It's a Wonderful Life. Another one, completely bombed in the 1940s. Bombed. But because of television and home video, it became a classic. So we have to thank, home video for saving the lives of a lot of these movies. And another example was Napoleon Dynamite from 2004. That movie completely flopped when it came out, but then when the DVD came out, it was the top selling DVD of all time when it came out. So much so that 20th Century Fox pulled that old DVD off the shelf and put out a brand new edition that had a little bit more bonus features and content on it. See, isn't it weird how stuff like that happens? But yeah, that's The Greatest Showman for tonight's Kdog Goes to the Movies. Now tomorrow night, we're going to watch the 1978 classic Grease with John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. So, from me to you, see you later.